If there's a genre of zombie films that makes you actually fear zombies, it's the Korean zombie genre. Because Korean zombies are not scary, they are terrifying. But what makes Train to Busan so different from The Walking Dead? I mean, both are gory and honestly repulsive at times, but Train to Busan has a violence and terror that The Walking Dead just doesn't. And the reason why Korean zombie films are so unhinged is that they portray zombies as humans. What this means is that a show like The Walking Dead draws a very clear line between the living and the dead. In fact, the second walker we see in the show is missing half of its body. It's not a threat anymore, and in fact it doesn't even have an identity. We refer to it as it because it's not anything except a walking corpse. And while they are dangerous, they aren't dangerous enough. A walker can eat a human, but not much else. They are only dangerous in herds, which dehumanize them even more, and they are very easy to outsmart. One speaker or a car is all you need to herd thousands of walkers. And this is what makes the majority of Western zombies feel almost docile. A film like Zombieland does the exact same thing. It makes zombies something to be mocked, a threat that only extends to the transmission of the virus itself and not the zombie carrying it, which is the exact opposite of how Korean films and shows do it. In Train to Busan or #Alive, the zombies are more like violent, sick humans on drugs. The Walking Dead or Shaun of the Dead turn zombies into weaker versions of humans, whereas Korean films make them stronger and more aggressive, and because they actually resemble humans and not something else, they feel real. Because when you see a human zombie and not a walking corpse, it is easy to project that onto yourself. You aren't a corpse, you are a human. So one is much more visceral than the other. Seeing people you used to know turn into, well, animals is much more frightening than watching them die and then stand up. And what makes Korean zombie films even scarier is how those human zombies move and function. They aren't just aggressive and violent, they are so crazy that they manage to go beyond their human limits. They can dislocate their shoulders, crack their bones, and run so fast that their limbs can rip away. It isn't just that they don't feel pain like walkers from The Walking Dead, they are so powerful and nutty that even if they did feel pain, it wouldn't matter. So why the sudden rise of Korean zombies? I mean, just now there is an upcoming Korean zombie film called Colony, made by the same director who directed Train to Busan, whereas the only Western zombie media we are getting is the same old franchises we had 20 years ago, like The Walking Dead, 28 Days Later, and The Last of Us. And the reason for this sudden rise is that the Western zombie style has become too boring. Korean zombies provide a new and unexplored style of post-apocalyptic storytelling. They basically pull the focus back from the characters and onto the zombie itself. They aren't mushroom people or brainless corpses. You get to see the human world collapse, and the cause for it is real, which is why this genre of zombie storytelling is on the rise. People are tired of The Walking Dead's goofy zombies, and not because they are bad, but because you can't just do the same thing over and over again expecting it to hold the same impact. When Korea releases a new kind of zombie film, it's already interesting because it's new. So which one is the better of the two? I mean, the old zombie style has been proven to work and is a massive success, but maybe it's getting replaced by something better. Well, I think that is the case. Korean zombies are the better zombies of the two. But that's not to say that they can tell the best stories. And the reason for this is that you have to understand what zombies are doing within the story. Because they cannot be characters, they cannot have a story that is centered around them. What zombies are is a pretty brutal and simple antagonist to the story. They aren't characters, so they can only be primitive bad guys. That's why The Walking Dead has human antagonists like Shane, the governor, and Negan. It's still a zombie world, but the main story is centered around those two human sides. How the protagonists and the antagonists navigate their differences within a collapsing world. So when you have something like Korean zombies that take the spotlight, having layered and deep storytelling becomes a lot harder to achieve, because you have this massive bad guy that cannot get any deeper than "I want to eat you." The way Korean films get around this problem is by focusing entirely on the protagonists, putting them in this situation, seeing how they react and escape something so bizarre and terrifying. So if done right, you get a really good film. But if you do it wrong, then you get a boring, gory mess. Which is why a lot of horror films, for example, are bad. Because a good horror film like The Shining makes the antagonist actually deep and even relatable. If you don't do that and rely solely on the horror factor itself to drive the story forward, then you need it to make sense. A film like The Thing has a simple monster. It's an alien that literally just wants to eat everyone, but the reason it works is that it takes place in an alien environment and the antagonist is exceptionally interesting and bizarre. So my point with all of this is that Korean zombies work when you capitalize on their freakish strength and focus on their survivors trying to escape it, and that it doesn't work when the zombies aren't as powerful or interesting. Western type zombies fundamentally have a different role, and to compare them both is like comparing apples and oranges. It really just comes down to which one you prefer, and sometimes one is better suited to the mood you are in than the other. For example, when you are tired, you won't want a high-stakes thrilling film or show. You will want something slower and more laid back, which is exactly what The Walking Dead can provide, and something like All of Us Are Dead cannot. Alright, I've been talking about Korean zombie films and shows for a while now, so which ones are the ones you should see right now if you haven't already? Well, the first and really only one you definitely need to see is Train to Busan, because it isn't a zombie film per se. Where other films are more like zombie flicks, Train to Busan is a genuinely enjoyable watch no matter if you like zombies or not. It provides a thrilling story of a dad and his daughter trying to survive what is essentially the end of the world. And the zombies themselves are not literally undead, they are alive humans who have been radically altered by the disease. So the film feels real and not like a sci-fi flick. And the second film I would highly recommend is #Alive. The reason being that it takes place entirely in one apartment. You see the world end from the comfort of your own home, literally, and the ways John Woo has to navigate such a terrible situation without any real world skills. It's not necessarily a cinematic masterpiece or even a very emotional film, but it is good in what it needs to do. And for a lot of films, that's all you need, because the worst that can happen is a film that is one thing pretending to be the other. And one aspect that I have been glossing over this entire video is the film 28 Days Later, because honestly, it is a lot like the Korean zombie films I have been talking about. The zombies are brutal, psychotic, intelligent, and the reason I didn't take that into account is that 28 Days Later is an exception. It is a film that fundamentally shares a lot in common with Korean zombie storytelling, but because it is one single film, it would be dishonest to single it out and claim that most Western zombie films are like that. Because even a film like World War Z has zombies similar to that of Korean films and shows. It is a film that deals with the tragedy on a global scale. Brad Pitt's role within the film is to save humanity, whereas Seok-woo's role in Train to Busan is to save his daughter and learn to lose a world he once knew. Therefore, if you draw a Venn diagram, there are overlapping areas, but largely, Western films are fundamentally different to Korean films. And that is a very good thing, because it gives real options to us, the consumers. Instead of having the same old meal every day, we get to have different and unique ones. I always enjoyed and hated Korean zombie films. I know it's counterintuitive since I just spent the entire video glazing them, but they always had that duality for me, where I love the storytelling, but the zombies themselves are genuinely repulsive at times. Because I would much rather watch The Walking Dead with its slower pacing and bigger focus on human relationships and conflicts, rather than something where the main goal is just to survive something so horrendous. If you enjoyed the video, let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you think about the Korean zombie genre, or maybe I totally missed something. In any case, check out the channel for more in-depth videos like this. Live long and prosper.